Hey there, Scoobies. After a couple of less than stellar episodes, we're back to something with a little more meat on the bone. As an episode, Halloween doesn't dramatically move the story forward, but we do get more character moments, and probably one of the biggest developments for one of the Scoobies yet. Buffy is fighting a vampire in a pumpkin patch, and we're shown that it's Halloween. Unbeknown to her, she's being filmed. We cut to the Bronze, where Cordy is trying her luck with Angel, when Buffy sees them and she goes to leave. Buffy laments to Angel about not being able to think about more traditionally girly things.
Dates are things normal girls have. Girls who have time to think about nail polish and facials. You know what I think about? Ambush tactics.
Her continued jealousy of Cordelia represents the mirror. It hits hard with her as that's the life that she had and continues to mourn a little. At school, Snyder is wrangling volunteers.
Note his interesting take on the volunteer concept.
Like in School Hard, I like Snyder's attempts at installing discipline by getting the students to look after the trick-or-treaters.
Gosh, I'd love to sign up, but I recently developed carpal tunnel syndrome and can tragically no longer hold a flashlight.
It's funny because what they see as punishment is actually adult responsibility. In the next scene, Xander is after a soda when Larry comes over to check out Buffy's availability. Xander does his usual.
Do you think she'd go out with me?
Well, Larry, that's a tough question to... No, not a chance.
Before a small moment that in Xander's little hate crowd, I don't think he gets enough credit for.
Like, that's my friend you're talking about.
This is actually quite a nice moment of genuinely standing up for his friend, before Buffy comes over and does something absolutely despicable.
Do you know what you just did?
Saved $1?
No, well, Larry was about to pummel me.
No, Xander, she stole your Dr. Pepper. Oh, and also...
I think I just violated the guy code big time.
I'm wholeheartedly with Xander in this moment. And not just because it was Buffy and the implications he was standing up for a girl, because it doesn't matter. It could have been a guy. The point is that he was standing up to a bully, win or lose. It's the standing up that counts.
Poor Xander. Boys are so fragile.
For Xander, there is also another reason, but we'll get to that later. Willow inquires to Buffy's date with Angel while being an accomplice to Peppergate. Our girls now conspire to steal from Giles.
That stuff is private.
Also, Giles keeps them in his office.
Buffy attempts to sneak into the library.
Buffy!
As if Giles would be anywhere else. Buffy attempts to distract him whilst Willow sneaks in, also proving something else.
I really don't have time for these
Miss
games.
Calendar said you were a babe.
That no matter how old we get, men can be easily distracted by pretty women.
Babe.
Buffy and Willow are looking at an entry from 1775, and Buffy is feeling more inadequate, comparing herself to the artistic depiction of the girl in the gown. Cordy enters and gloats a little more.
So, Buffy, you ran off last night and left poor little Angel all by his lonesome. But I did everything I could to comfort him.
I love this dialogue as it fills in the knowledge gaps.
So what's his story anyway? I mean, I never see him around.
Not during the day, anyway.
And continue to play on Buffy's mind. The Scoobies head to the costume store to get their Halloween get-up, and Buffy kind of says it herself.
Don't underestimate yourself. You got it in you.
Before Willow cuts it off.
Hey, Xander.
Xander is trying to make up for his earlier embarrassment with the most macho thing he can think of.
Do you mind, Buffy? I'm trying to repress.
And we almost get to the point of his upset from earlier, but Buffy is distracted.
Okay, actually, I think I could have... Hello?
Promise we will get there. Ethan appears and feels...
quite moved to make you a deal you can't refuse.
Meanwhile, Spike is studying Buffy's moves.
Baby likes to play. You see that? Well, she stakes him with that thing. That's what you call resourceful.
When Drew comes along to foreshadow what's about to happen.
Do you love my inside? The parts you can't see?
Eyeballs to entrails, my sweet.
We cut to Ethan starting his spell. I get that he's worshipping chaos here, but I always wondered what was his end goal? What's his motivation? Buffy and Willow are getting ready, and we see again how Willow represents Buffy's spirit. Buffy is trying to impress Angel by wearing a costume, being someone that she's not. The slutty outfit is a costume, and Willow is feeling uncomfortable in it in the same way that Buffy is feeling uncomfortable inside, and trying to convince herself that she's not. Getting ready to take the kids trick-or-treating, Xander runs into Larry again, proving his point, and having him wonder for a moment about his other point. On a separate note, he's actually pretty good with kids.
On sleazing extra candy, tears are key. Tears will normally get you the double bagger.
Halloween well underway and Ethan's spell beginning to take effect, everyone turns into their costumes and hijinks ensues. The fun here is in the role reversals. Xander acting as the protector, while Buffy being less than useful to the group. The constant being Willow, having to act as the group's centre. Up until now, we have been getting small moments of Willow's ability to take charge, but this is the first time we actually see how she handles herself in a crisis, and she's doing a pretty good job. Xander saves Cordy, who gives a little exposition on where her costume came from, and we get the next little notch on the road to Xandelia. Cordelia's line,
Who died and made her the boss?
is foreshadowing at its best, mainly because it's an intentional line for the episode underlining Willow's found confidence, but the line in of itself foreshadows much of Willow's future. In my Willow breakdown, I talked about how Willow's eventual addiction to magic was actually a cover for her real addiction, which was to control. The driver of this is an inability to deal with loss, and you find that she takes charge at these points. Firstly, here, where Buffy in essence is gone. Then, when Buffy dies at the end of season 5, Willow becomes the de facto leader of the group. Finally, when she loses terror and goes off the deep end and attempts to take control of the fate of the world. Now, I'm not saying this is all intentional foreshadowing, but the building blocks are all here. Angel reaches the group and Cordy fills him in on what's going on. They split up, and I feel there's a slight faux pas here from the writers.
I didn't leave that open.
My question is, how did the vampire enter uninvited? And for anyone that was saying this is a kid that's now become a vampire, why is Angel then trying to stake them? Willow and Giles are getting to the bottom of the mystery.
And your costume?
I'm a ghost.
Yes. The ghost of what exactly?
And realise all the costumes were from a new place, except for Cordy's. Willow and Giles investigate Ethan's, and Giles references the statue.
Janus, Roman mythical god.
This nicely sums up the themes of the episode, everyone putting on costumes and playing with the idea of dual nature. When...
Hello, Ripper.
And we get the reveal that maybe Giles has been wearing his own costume. Buffy is running from Pirate Larry when Xander comes to her rescue, and we have finally made it.
It's strange, but beating up that pirate gave me a weird sense of closure.
Yes, this bookmarked Xander's earlier issues with masculinity, but answered another question that he'd been asking himself before Buffy came in and ruined it. Could he take him? Xander is often painted as a wimpy kid that is often bullied.
You just don't like him because of that time he beat you up every day for 5 years?
But, since meeting Buffy, he has often faced off against vampires and other monsters, showing a lot more bravery in the process. So yeah, I think he'd be wondering, am I still that wimpy kid? Or have I grown beyond that? Have I become more competent as a fighter? This somewhat answers the question. Obviously, you might say that it doesn't, as he is a soldier right now, but after this, all that stays with him. Back to Ethan and Giles.
It's quite a little act you've got going here, old man.
It's no act. It's who I am.
This is some well-needed character development for Giles.
Break the spell, Ethan. Then leave this place and never come back.
Why should I? What's in the bargain for me?
You get to live.
We get to see a darker side of Rupert, meaning that
It's who I am.
isn't necessarily true. It's part of who he is, sure, but he is also Ripper. The gang make it to the warehouse with Spike hot on their toes until Giles manages to break the statue and return them to normal.
Hi, honey. I'm home.
Willow wakes up on the porch where she started with a newfound sense of confidence, and Buffy comes clean to Angel, only to find out that he wasn't interested in those girls. The episode ends on a haunting close-up of Giles as he reads Ethan's note. Though not set in the world of light, this episode does have all the elements that make up a great Scooby experience. Each of our characters gets some kind of growth, especially Xander and Willow, that represent elements of Buffy herself, showing an overall growth in Buffy. The overall themes that play out here are linked closest to Giles himself. The statue used is of Janus, the ancient Roman god of beginnings, transitions, time, duality and endings. I think all of this relays directly to Giles and his position at this point. As mentioned, they didn't push the boat out too far, but we are dipping our toes in the water.